guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaki and today we're going to be talking about some books that I don't like for a change. If you watch my channel every time I upload, you'll notice that I don't have pinky, blonde, brown hair anymore. I do have brown and blue hair. It happened a few days ago and I am really obsessed with it, although it is, you can definitely tell, a DIY at home job. I'm obsessed with it. But anyway, back to books. I, on the channel, talk about books that I absolutely love all day long until I'm blue in the face. I have seen this trend on BookTube going around for quite a while now of talking about the books that you didn't unfortunately like. I'm not going to say that I hate all of these books or anything like that, I just didn't like them and that's okay. I think this is the perfect video for me to make right now because I am really learning to DNF books if I don't like them. I am allowed to stop reading a book if I feel like I am not enjoying it. Reading is supposed to be a fulfilling experience, so if you aren't enjoying something, put it down. So the first book I'm going to talk about on this list is one that I don't actually own, which really says a lot, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book is basically your average fantasy regurgitation novel of everything that you've read before. It's a big plot twist and the series is great from the first book, but unfortunately I couldn't get past this one, let alone the entire series. I would say what it's about, but I don't actually remember. I just remember not liking it at all, and I can't really say much else because I don't remember what it's about. I remember it just being a regurgitation of everything that I've ever read before, so this is the first one. The next book I do own, and that is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. A lot of you are gonna be like, oh my god, you didn't enjoy a Marissa Meyer book? Yes. Yes, I did not. I didn't. That was such a perplexed sentence. Yes, I did not. I love the Lunar Chronicles, but this was a hit and miss for me. Basically, this is a Alice in Wonderland retelling of the Red Queen and how she came about to be so evil and so relentless, chopping people's heads off and shit like that. I am not the biggest Alice in Wonderland fan, and that is not the author's fault. It is mine for picking it up, but the way that it was marketed to me was different, and sometimes I do like villain stories from franchises that I don't actually particularly like. Cough, cough. Catwoman, but I just didn't gel with this. It was overhyped, the storyline was all fragmented and all over the place. So it turns out the reason why the Red Queen is so evil is because of a man and how she couldn't get the man that she wanted, and she was in a love triangle that she didn't want to be in, and I just was over it. I was very over it. I do have a spoiler-free review of this on my channel that I posted about a year ago when I read this, which I'll link below. More of my thoughts are in there. The next book I'm going to talk about is a classic, and that is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This one won't come as a surprise to anybody because I DNF'd this not too long ago. This is about a gang, that's all I know. I asked my boyfriend what this book was about and he hasn't even read it. He's watched the movie. This is told in an entirely different language and I honestly had no idea what was going on half of the time. All I know is it's about this gang who are very violent, and Anthony Burgess thought it was going to be how London or something turned out. I have no idea. I don't really know what else more I can say about this apart from the fact that I did not like it at all. We're gonna skip past this one. I just really did not like this one. The next one is probably going to shock a few people and upset them because it's one of people's favourite books of all time, and that is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I feel so guilty holding this up, but again, it's another one, like, I don't know what happened in this at all. What I understand from the plot before I DNF'd was the fact that it is set in a time where there's a war. I'm guessing it's World War II because it's all about like Jewish people, and death is narrated, which was something really interesting, which kind of made me want to read it more, but at the same time, no. So it's about this girl in World War II who lives with her foster mother and father. Her real parents have been taken away to a concentration camp, and so I think in a way of missing her parents or feeling the time, I don't know, she steals books. I don't have a Goodreads review or anything, so I can't exactly tell you pinpoint which of the things. I just think that it dragged on a lot, and I feel like some parts weren't needed. Some parts genuinely weren't needed. It was slow, and I don't know why loads of people love this so much. The next book I'm going to be talking about on this list is probably going to upset a lot of people as well because it's a lot of people's favourite book as well, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. Okay, this is basically about a girl called Audrey who really wants to be a forensic scientist, and so she joins up with her uncle and they basically are on the mission to find who Jack the Ripper is and to bring him to justice, basically, and to see why all of these women are being murdered. I don't like historical fiction.
The Book Thief by Markus Zusak.
But I wanted to pick this up because I loved Jack the Ripper and learning about him in school, like a GCSE history or just before GCSE history, or the thing that made me pick GCSE history was because we studied Jack the Ripper, and it was really fun This wasn't fun. First of all, I didn't like the romance. The plot twist was nice, the plot was nice, I liked the premise, the execution was also, it was very well written. I just feel like this fell a little bit flat because in the end, they conclude who Jack the Ripper is, and I feel like that's such a big part of history that you can't do that. No one knows who Jack the Ripper is, and I feel like it was a little bit disrespectful, is that word? Just a bit odd that this author decided to pinpoint Jack the Ripper onto someone, rather than it being metaphorical, which I thought that's where it was going. This was marketed to me as a women empowerment novel, and I was like, yeah, feminism, she's into a STEM subject, she's gonna solve this crime, or she's gonna try, and she's gonna get a good place in life. Turns out in the end, she is bait in solving the crime, and a man solves it for her, and I just wanted to slam this book into fire and let it watch it burn and watch that part of the story just crumble, because I was actually really enjoying this up until that point, and I was just like, nah. The next book I'm going to be telling you about how I didn't like it is Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. You know what? I don't mind We Were Liars. I mean, it wasn't my most favourite thing in the entire world. I loved it up until the ending. It kind of hinted at necrophilia, and it wasn't for me. It made me feel a bit sick and weird. We Were Liars was kind of like a breaking point for E. Lockhart, so they wrote Genuine Fraud, and I hated this with every ounce of my being. This was just a no. So this is about Imogen, who is a runaway teen. I think she's a teen. Jewel is everything that Imogen wants to be, and Imogen is her best friend, and she's very envious of her. You can really feel that. The blurb of this book says an intense friendship, a disappearance, a murder, or maybe two, a bad romance, or maybe three. Rah, rah, All I'm going to say about this book is the fact that it just didn't make sense. My brain couldn't file away the information like every other book because it wasn't in chronological order. I just got so fucking confused, and I feel like that's okay for a narrative device if you can follow that in literature, but for me that's more of a narrative device for film because I can understand it, I can see it, there are clues in mise-en-scène and cinematography, but in this book I can really file the information in, and therefore the storytelling and the story was really fragmented in my head. Massive content warning for suicide in this book, or maybe not, because the way that this is represented in here isn't realistic. Suicide isn't poetic. Suicide is not popping a few pills in your bathtub and closing your eyes and waiting for death to come and collect you. It's painful. It's crying. It's feeling guilty. It's remorseful. It's feeling like a self-sacrifice. It isn't poetic, and it certainly isn't sitting in your bathtub waiting for death to come and collect you. No, E. Lockhart, just no. The last book I'm going to be talking about on this list today of books that I don't like is one that I have read quite recently, and that is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is basically about a journalist who has gone bust, bankrupt, he's been in a scandal, and he's basically ruined his career. And then a billionaire, I guess he's a billionaire or something, he's very high up, he's very famous, asks him to help him solve his wife's murder because he really believes that she was murdered and no one else believes him. And he really thinks it's one of the family members, so they pretend for the journalist to be writing this millionaire's biography. And so he's interviewing all of the family members to get stories and stuff like that for his biography, when he's really snooping and finding out different clues about his wife's murder. On the other hand, we have the girl with the dragon tattoo, who is called Lisbeth. She is tracking down the journalist, Michael, and she's basically just following his story, and eventually, as I wouldn't know because I DNF'd this, the stories weave together and apparently it becomes really good. I just wasn't prepared to stick around that long. As I said, I am learning to DNF books that I don't feel like are fulfilling my reader needs. That sounds like a sexual thing, but you know what I mean. I'm not from Sweden, so this was just a hit and miss for me. This is also full of filler and things that we don't care about. He can be chatting shit about milk for 5 minutes, about how the fucking main character's mother liked milk once and then she died of being lactose intolerant, and we don't actually care. I feel like if this got to the point, it's very thick, it's a very thick book. If this got to the point, I would have loved it. So those are some popular books that I unfortunately didn't like. I'm really sorry if I've chat shit about one of your favourite books. I probably have because I mentioned The Book Thief. I really hope that I didn't offend you, but if I did, please keep in mind that these are just my opinions. You're allowed yours, I'm allowed mine. Let's shake on it and just leave it there. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment some of your unpopular bookish opinions in the comments section below if you have any, and I will see you next week for a brand new video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!
You've got a face for a smile, you know. A shame you're wasted when you're breaking me slowly, but I've got a